Betrayed by his family, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison, Joseph's life seemed cursed. Yet through faith, resilience, and forgiveness, God turned his pain into a powerful purpose. This is his story of trusting God's plan. Joseph was the favored son of Jacob, born to Rachel in his old age, the 11th of 12 brothers. At just 17, he was a shepherd like his kin, but his father's love shone brightest on him. Jacob gifted Joseph a special coat of many colors, vibrant stripes of red, blue, and gold that set him apart, a symbol of favoritism that bred resentment among his siblings. Joseph's dreams only fueled the fire. In one, he saw sheaves of grain bowing to his own. In another, the sun, moon, and stars paid him homage. He shared these visions innocently, but to his brothers, they were insults, prophecies of him ruling over them one day. "Shall you indeed reign over us?" They sneered, their jealousy turning to hatred. One fateful day in the fields of Dothan, the brothers plotted. Reuben tried to save him, suggesting they throw Joseph into a dry pit instead of killing him. But when Ishmaelite traders passed by on their way to Egypt, Judah proposed selling him for profit, 20 pieces of silver. Heartless, they stripped off his coat, cast him into the pit, and sold him like merchandise. As the caravan faded into the desert, Joseph's world shattered. His brothers dipped the coat in goat's blood and deceived Jacob, who mourned as if Joseph were dead. Yet even in the depths of that pit, Joseph's faith flickered. He trusted God's presence, unaware that this betrayal was the first thread in a divine tapestry. Resilience would be forged in suffering, and forgiveness would one day mend what was broken. God's plan was unfolding, turning evil intentions into steps toward salvation for many. Arriving in Egypt, Joseph was bought by Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard, as a household slave. Undeterred by his chains, Joseph's integrity shone. God blessed him, and soon he oversaw Potiphar's estate. Fields, flocks, and servants all prospered under his hand. The Lord was with Joseph, granting him success in everything. But trials tested his faith. Potiphar's wife, a beautiful Egyptian temptress, noticed his handsome form and took a fancy to him. Day after day, she urged, "Lie with me." Joseph resisted, torn between desire and duty. "How could I sin against God and my master?" he declared, fleeing her grasp one day, leaving his cloak behind. Enraged at rejection, she accused him falsely of assault, using the garment as proof. Potiphar, furious, cast Joseph into the king's prison. There, in the shadows of iron bars, Joseph's resilience deepened. He served the warden faithfully, managing fellow inmates just as he had the household. God's favor continued. The prison thrived under his care. 2 royal servants, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, landed in the same cell, troubled by dreams. Joseph, gifted by God, interpreted them. The cupbearer would be restored in 3 days, but the baker hanged. And so it happened. The cupbearer freed, the baker executed. Joseph pleaded, "Remember me when you're out." But the man forgot, leaving Joseph to languish 2 more years. In that forgotten place, faith grew roots. Joseph trusted God's timing, resilient against despair. These chains were forging a leader, preparing him for a greater purpose. What seemed like the end was God weaving redemption through suffering. 2 long years passed in prison, but God's timing is perfect. Pharaoh himself was tormented by dreams, 7 fat cows devoured by 7 gaunt ones from the Nile, and 7 plump ears of grain swallowed by thin, blasted ones. None in his court could explain. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph. "A young Hebrew in prison interprets dreams," he said. Summoned and shaved, Joseph stood before Pharaoh, radiant with God-given wisdom. "It's not me," "But God who reveals secrets," Joseph humbly replied. He interpreted, 7 years of abundance followed by 7 of famine. To survive, store a fifth of the harvest now. Pharaoh, awestruck, declared, "Can we find such a one as this, in whom is the Spirit of God?" He clothed Joseph in fine linen, gave him his signet ring, gold chains, and a chariot second only to his own. At 30, Joseph became vizier, ruler over Egypt. He married Asenath, daughter of a priest, and fathered Manasseh and Ephraim. Diligently, Joseph oversaw granaries bursting with grain from the plenty. When famine struck, as predicted, Egypt and the world turned to him for bread. Joseph's faith had elevated him from slave to savior. No longer the pit's victim, he was God's instrument, resilient and wise. This rise wasn't luck, it was providence. God used Joseph's trials to position him for glory, reminding us that faithfulness in the dark precedes breakthrough in the light. The famine spread like a shadow, gripping Canaan. Jacob sent his sons to Egypt for grain, 10 brothers, unknowingly facing the one they betrayed. Joseph, now powerful and disguised in Egyptian finery, recognized them instantly as they bowed, fulfilling his old dreams. His heart raced with memories, but he tested their character, accusing them of spying. Terrified, they confessed their past guilt over the one who is no more. Joseph wept inwardly, thrown by God's irony. He imprisoned Simeon as collateral, demanding they bring Benjamin, the youngest. Back home, they shared with Jacob, who relented only after rations ran dry. On the second trip, Benjamin arrived, and Joseph's resolve cracked. He hosted a feast, but planted his silver cup in Benjamin's sack, a final test. Guards discovered, threatening enslavement. Judah pleaded passionately, offering himself instead to spare their father grief. Moved, Joseph could hide no longer. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" he cried, voice breaking. The brothers froze in shock. Alone with them, he explained, "God sent me ahead to preserve life. Don't fear, I forgive you. What you meant for evil, God meant for good, to save a nation." Tears flowed as he embraced them, revealing his identity to all. Messengers raced to Jacob with the news, and the old man's spirit revived. Faith had bridged the chasm, resilience had endured, forgiveness healed. Joseph's mercy mirrored God's own, turning enemies into family once more. Jacob's family relocated to Egypt's lush Goshen, reuniting in joy. Joseph provided for them through the famine, his forgiveness complete. Years later, as Jacob blessed his sons and died, Joseph assured his brothers anew, "I will care for you." When Joseph himself lay dying at 110, he prophesied Israel's return to Canaan and made them swear to carry his bones. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to preserve many people alive." Those words echo eternally, Genesis 50 verse 20. Joseph's story calls us to faith in God's unseen plan, resilience in trials, and bold forgiveness. In your own betrayals or prisons, trust Him. He redeems all. What evil are you facing? Let God turn it to good. Share your story below, and subscribe for more on biblical resilience.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in our next video.